Lakers basketball is a final. And now it's time for your chance to react.
Hi, it's Kobe Bryant.
Light it up, Southern California. This is the State Farm Postgame Show on your home for Lakers basketball. ESPN LA 710. Your first chance to let us know how you feel about the game and how our Lakers did. Plus full game recap and highlights. React now. 877-710 ESPN. This is the State Farm Postgame Show. State Farm. We exist to assist.
On the one hand, Alan Sliwa, the Lakers have set tonight a new franchise record for losses with 62. We thought last year, we said to ourselves, well, it's not going to get worse than that. Well, technically, that is not true. The Lakers now dropped to 16-62 on the season. They lose 91-81 to the Los Angeles Clippers. It's the 11th straight loss by the Lakers to the Clippers. That is a very ugly statistic that no Lakers fan ever thought was possible, if only for the fact that it's hard to imagine the Clippers winning 11 times. You know, for most Lakers fans, that's a hard thing.
It was kind of weird. At the end of the game, you saw Kobe and Chris Paul. It's obviously well known that they're good friends, and
the what-if meeting at center court for one final time.
They're literally sitting there having a conversation right after the game, 2-3 minutes after the game. And I'm just looking at the both of them saying, how the heck did these guys never play together, especially for that hour and a half that we thought they were going to be together. It's been ugly. The only positive that can come out of it, if the Lakers end up with one of these top 3 picks, at least we can have something to say for the season when it's all said and done, that they are potentially going to get a young player as part of this losing season.
Yes, it is up to the ping pong balls now, which aren't even ping pong balls anymore. Alan, we've moved into the 21st century. It's just an algorithm that spits out numbers into an envelope. Brian Kamenetsky, Alan Sliwa, 877-710-ESPN is the number. We'll certainly talk a little bit about what the Lakers did tonight in terms of setting a franchise record for the most losses, but really that is not the main theme of tonight's game. It is the second to last home game for Kobe Bryant, and really that's what people are paying attention to right now, because functionally it doesn't matter if your team loses 62 games, 64 games, 60 games, or 59 games. Your team was terrible that year anyway. It's a blow to the ego, but right now we're really getting into the last of the cherish Kobe moments, because we're down to 4 games.
And for Laker fans who want to see the Lakers turn the page and start moving on, you're going to get that in a week. After a week from today, Kobe Bryant's career will be over, and then the offseason will start, and free agency and NBA draft and all that stuff. So that's going to be coming either way. But like you just mentioned, Brian, he's put in 20 years of work. He's got 5 NBA championships for the Los Angeles Lakers, 7 times to the NBA Finals. So there's a lot to appreciate, because in a couple weeks that's all going to be over.
Yeah, 877-710-ESPN is the number. We'll certainly take your remembrances and thoughts about Kobe and his career. It's important to remember when you say these things out loud, he's not dead. He's just retiring.
I know.
When we say his remembrances, what are your favorite memories of his?
How old is he? Is he 37?
37. It's not a funeral. He's
Think
not
about
dead.
that. He's 37 years old and he is retiring.
37 years old, and he's retiring from basketball, at least, and doing so 3 or 4 or 5 years after most guys do it. So it gives you an idea of how young, when you're a professional athlete, you play for 10, 12, 13 years, and we think of you, God, this guy's been around forever.
Right.
You're still leaving the game when you're 34 years old.
That's the window of retirement for some of these athletes. I'm 33. If I can tell you, Brian, hey, 4 more years for me, and I'm putting it up, man. I think I'm done with all this.
You know what, Alan? The kind of money that I suspect you're making around here, if you invest wisely, save a little on the side, you might be able to retire. Did you
see Randall's numbers at all?
I did.
20 rebounds tonight.
It was an interesting game.
I didn't realize he had that many rebounds until I actually looked at the stats. Not to say that it wasn't impactful to have 20 rebounds. Just it wasn't a glaring thought during the game.
Well, he got most of them. Julius Randle had over 40% of the Lakers' rebounds tonight. That is an excellent rebounding rate. Larry Nance had 7, so 27 rebounds between Larry Nance and Julius Randle, and 22 for the rest of the team. So that's not good. But it was an interesting. It was one of those nights he was shooting so poorly, you kind of forget some of the other numbers.
Yeah,
3 of 11 from the floor. The third field goal came late in the game on kind of garbage time. 7 points. The whole offense was just wretched tonight. 5 of 15 for Jordan Clarkson. 5 of 13 for D'Angelo Russell. 6 of 19 for Kobe Bryant in 28 minutes. And really, while I think some of the young guys have definitely hit a little bit of a physical wall, certainly have hit a mental wall.
Yep.
Kobe has been very plain about coming into these games and trying to give fans what they want, and what they want is Kobe. Mm-hmm. And so that really does take the Lakers out of their offense. As bad as that offense normally is, it's hard for them to function right now as a team, and I think fans do need to understand that.
Yeah, at this point, you're just giving really what they want. They're paying big money to come see Kobe Bryant for the last time. As you can see, when Kobe's on the floor, or when Kobe's not on the floor, what are they doing, Brian? They're chanting his name. And then when he's on the floor, the moment he touches it, whether he's 25 feet away and DeAndre Jordan's got a hand in his face, they're still cheering for him.
And you have to feel that as Kobe. You gotta. I mean, even when you kind of want to do the right thing, or he feels it.
And it's not like they're in a position where, man, we could really move up the standings if we get this win. No, it has nothing to do with that. So that the X's and O's, and this didn't just start today. This has been really the theme and the case for the last couple of months.
Yep.
There's just not really much else to be playing for.
Not much. Martin and El Monte, you are on the State Farm Postgame Show with Brian Kamenetsky and Alan Slewa.
Hi, yes.
Martin, which direction are you turning? Are you? Yeah. Is your door open? What's going on?
Oh, sorry. I just had my keys on. I just want to talk about the Lakers when they played against the Celtics on Sunday night. It was a great show that Kobe put on. It was amazing, man. I never seen Kobe live in my game. Just when they were in the playoffs against the Celtics, in the championship, and it was amazing seeing the last time playing against the Green, like he said. Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. 34 points in 33 minutes. Was amazing.
Yeah, and thanks for the call, Martin. And that's the kind of thing that Lakers fans are getting into, Alan. They're looking for that one thing. And Andy and I have this debate all the time about, like, what has the farewell tour been like? Has it met your expectations? Has it been disappointing? And I guess it depends to some degree on what you were expecting. Mm-hmm. I, to be frank, was expecting to only be able to play like 35 or 40 games. The amount of games he's played to me has been the real reward. But I feel like I had my expectations for how well he'd play were really low, and that there have been 3 or 4 or 5 of these moments where he erupts for 30 points, where he has the 20-something, the game against Oklahoma City where it comes down to him against Kevin Durant at the end. All of that stuff, there have been enough of those things that stick out to me to make me say, yeah, I've gotten what I want out of it.
I think for me going into the season, I really wanted to see how D'Angelo, Clarkson, and Julius Randle as well, since he really last year didn't play anything, played 15 minutes or so. My hope was going into the season was just seeing how these young players, the potential young players, are going to look for the Lakers' future. The way I've always looked at it, and this is trying to be politically correct, but also just trying to be honest. I was a Laker fan before Kobe Bryant was there. I'll be a Laker fan after Kobe Bryant is gone. So to see the Los Angeles Lakers,
just go back. You said you were 33. It means you were 13.
Yeah.
13 to 33 with Kobe Bryant.
Yeah. Oh, no, you're 100% right. So I'm probably only
much more than half of your life has been experienced with Kobe Bryant.
Literally only 5 or 6 years of my life as a Laker fan without Kobe.
By the way, I had no idea you were this young. You look terrible.
Thank you very much. I'll have another coffee. This last caller made a great point. He said that, I think he was talking about tonight's game, that he hadn't been to a game in so long. I'll tell you, when I hear a caller like that, I forget about how fortunate myself, you included,
for sure.
Andy, the access that we have. I really, truly forget about it. I do remember, I grew up in San Diego. Lakers play that the one preseason game a year at the Sports Arena, which is, an awful facility. But I remember going as a kid, that one game we got to go to, sitting at the Sports Arena, sitting way up in the rafters, and to me, I'm like, this is gold.
And that's what Kobe Bryant takes so seriously, and that's why he's been trying to get on the floor so much this year. It really is a special thing to be able to say, I saw him play. For me to see, I covered him for well over a decade. You saw a lot of stuff, and if you are in the building tonight, if you've been in the building this year, if you're coming on Wednesday, which is going to be bananas, you're right. I mean, it's the kind of thing that you get to take with you forever, regardless of how well he plays.
And how many times has a guy like John Ireland said it, where he's mentioned we will have taken him for granted for how much criticism we've given Kobe. And I'm on that list. I'm on that list where I'm going to look back in a year or 2 years and be like, remember how easy it was for Lakers to get buckets, how Lakers were so competitive year in and year out? In the moment, you forget about it until it's gone.
Yep. You and I can argue about that with you in Ireland for a long time. And it should be noted, Mario Ruiz is the opposite of Alan Slee. Mario is 63 years old. Little known fact, Mario is a very old man who was preserved extraordinarily well. We should all be so lucky as to age like Mario Ruiz. 877-710-ESPN is the number. Brian Kamenetsky, Alan Slee will take some of your calls. We'll hear from Byron Scott as well when we come back. State Farm postgame show. State Farm, we exist to assist on ESPN LA.
Everything from our purple and gold battle. You are listening to the State Farm postgame show. State Farm, we exist to assist. This is the State Farm postgame show on your home for Lakers basketball. ESPN LA 710.
Kobe has 3 rebounds in the game. Now dribbles on Mbah Moute, around Mbah Moute, all the way to the rim. Fall away in the lane, good. He ended up on his wallet, laying down in front of the courtside season ticket holders.
Gotta wonder why Kobe Bryant is carrying his wallet on the floor. But
really no need to.
Yeah, but that was my favorite play of the game, Alan Slewa. Kobe Bryant drives down the lane. The arc on this shot, it basically drops straight through the bucket. This was the play that fans will take home with them. This is the play that'll be replayed on SportsCenter tonight. It is also the drive of the game. Drive of the game brought to you by Subaru of Santa Monica. Stop by Subaru Santa Monica today and experience the new one price policy. Learn more about it at SubaruSantaMonica.com. An LA Car Guy dealership. State Farm postgame show. State Farm, we exist to assist. Brian Kamenetsky, Alan Slee will be joined shortly by Andy Kamenetsky. He's in the locker room tonight. Also, the Kobe Bryant press conference. Not a lot of opportunities for the home press to ask Kobe Bryant questions. It's going to happen tonight. It's going to happen next Wednesday. And I don't know when it's ever going to happen again.
I was seeing some of those photos. You can describe it better, but yesterday in the locker room, looked like a zoo out there.
Well, yesterday was a word that I cannot use on the radio without getting fined. Because it was a Clippers home game, the normal room that we would use for Kobe is the big, interview room. Right. But it has all the Clippers backdrops and stuff. So they interviewed somebody had the idea, let's interview Kobe in the hallway. I'm actually surprised the fire marshal didn't come and shut it down. It was that crowded in there. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, a lot of tweets out there. There was a lot of photos and pictures just showing
I couldn't
the
get
chaos.
I don't even know what Kobe said. I was just like, I took a picture and it was like stood there hoping to catch a nugget of it. 877-710-ESPN is the number. The Lakers lose 91-81. It's the 11th straight loss to the Clippers. It is their 62nd loss of the season. That is a franchise record, one that nobody really ever wanted to set, but here we are. They are besting the mark that was set last year. So it's been a tough couple of seasons, Alan. 16-62 is the Lakers' record on the season. Kobe Bryant, 6 of 19 from the floor, 17 points. That did lead the Lakers on a night where they, as a group, struggled to score 35% from the floor, 3 of 11 from Julius Randle, 5 of 15 from Jordan Clarkson, D'Angelo Russell, 5 of 13. They've been a bad defensive team all year long. They've been a train wreck on offense all year long. It's a bad team, game after game.
Oh, yeah.
The players are ready to be done.
Time to turn the page.
It is.
I've got a good quote here, a good tweet from Serena Winters with Lakers Nation. She says, D'Angelo Russell's focus over the next 4 games is simple. Quote, get Kobe the ball.
Well, that's what Kobe, it was funny. We were asking after in the Boston game, because there were those moments where that was a close game. It was really entertaining.
Yeah.
There were those moments where D'Angelo and Kobe are huddled up and they're talking, and Kobe's pointing and this and that, whatever. And we asked him after the game, well, what is Kobe telling you? What is he doing? We're expecting some sort of Yoda-like wisdom. When you see Isaiah Thomas come out, get me the ball. You think that was get me the ball?
You think that bothers some of these young players? You think D'Angelo this stage of the season, you think he's looking at this and saying, "Man,
no, actually,
this has been going on for a long time."
This stage of the season, I think they're probably better with it now than they were earlier in the year. You got to remember, I mean, Julius Randle worshipped Kobe Bryant growing up. D'Angelo Russell worshipped Kobe Bryant growing up. These are all guys for this generation of players. Kobe is Jordan. And so when Jordan tells you in his last 3 games or 4 games to get him the ball, you get him the ball. Right. And, D'Angelo's not trying to play his way back into the starting lineup. The development part of it, I mean, it'd be nice if he could, you could spend the last 15 games letting him and Russell and Randall, those guys shine. But at the same time, this is a once-in-a-lifetime player who is leaving the game and leaving this franchise. I think it's reasonable for concessions to be made, and I think long-term these guys will appreciate the opportunity to have been part of it.
On top of that, in 4 games, they're going to get the keys are going to be theirs. So they're going to get that opportunity, and they're going to get that opportunity. Some of these shots that Kobe takes, I don't know how many he took tonight.
Took 19.
Took 19. So take those 19 shots and start dispersing them amongst the rest of the players. They're going to get their opportunities. It's just not going to come at his expense at this point.
Right, and look, I mean, you're right to bring up the idea that there probably is a little bit of frustration and things like that. But that does, I think, on balance, when you look at it all, at this point in the year, get Kobe the ball, I think, is a reasonable strategy for sure. Wayne in, I'm going to say Los Angeles. You're on the State Farm Postgame Show.
I was just wondering if you think Kobe Bryant will stick around and help the Lakers out as a mentor, as a coach after he's done here. It didn't really work for Magic. It didn't work for Kurt Rambis. Not really working for Byron Scott.
Yep. I will say this, Wayne. Alan and I are more likely to one day become the head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers than Kobe Bryant. It is never going to happen. He has said it many times he doesn't have the patience. It wouldn't surprise me to see him, pop in. If they have a player who could use his help, for him to be almost like Olajuwon, where if a player calls him up and says, "Can you teach me these 5 things or these things I want you to," I don't think he would say no to that, but I don't think he's going to be around in the day-to-day sort of teaching of young players. I mean, maybe you've seen something different, but I don't see that happening.
No, and I think it might be good for the Lakers too to, of course, if Kobe Bryant wanted to give his time to the Los Angeles Lakers to teach some of these players, that door is completely wide open. But I think at the same time, I think it's good for the Lakers also to turn that page, to also kind of start creating their own new culture, because as much as they've kind of held on to something over the last couple of years, let's say since his Achilles injury, as much as they've wanted to hold on to something that maybe wasn't there the way it was, not maybe, it wasn't there the way it was, at this point, it's also good to turn the page, kind of start fresh and go from there.
Right, because, I mean, this is something that I don't think Lakers fans talk about enough or understand necessarily. I mean, it's not just that the force that is Kobe has been over the last 20 years, and the influence that he's had over the organization and the city and the way we think of stars and how they're supposed to act and what the mentality is supposed to be, that doesn't disappear when he retires. It's almost like Obi-Wan Kenobi, like he starts glowing and has this like extra spiritual presence that hovers over everything, and we start, the legend of Kobe then starts to build, and the comparison points change, and we think of him only with the greatness and forget some of the flaws or frustrations or whatever it might be. So for those guys to come in and have him, if he were to be hovering around literally, I agree with you. It could be problematic.
Yeah, they're going to be potentially in a good spot moving forward if they can get this top 3 pick. We know how much money that they have. We don't know. I think they have $65 million in cap space. We don't know what's going to happen in the sense of if Byron Scott's going to be if Byron Scott's going to be the coach, and if Byron Scott's the right coach for these young players. But when you really look at it moving forward, it's not like the Lakers are in the worst position.
No, they're not at all. They have a chance to turn this around in the next year or two. I think relatively it's a they're not going to the Western Conference Finals next year, but
nor do they need to.
No, but you're right, Alan.
Of course they're not, but I'm saying
Jim Buss might disagree with you, but from a practical standpoint, they don't.
That building part, the building of all right, you start creating that foundation, and then from there you start building a little bit, and maybe in a year or two they're sitting where the Utah Jazz are sitting right now, which is in the 8th spot of the playoffs.
Yep.
And as Laker fans, we have to also be a little bit more patient than we're accustomed to for multiple reasons. Number one, the CBA is completely different, where there is more parity in the NBA. And number two, Dr. Jerry Buss, who's arguably not only the greatest owner in the NBA, but could potentially be the greatest owner in sports, he's not there anymore, and his kids are taking over. It's almost unfair to them that they're taking over. I think you and Andy were talking about this a few games back, how unfair it is to be the guy after Kobe.
Mm-hmm.
How unfair is it in a sense that you're the ownership, it's your father,
right,
but you're taking over something that is pretty much impossible to replace.
Right, but the success, and then also it's a different league.
Yeah.
The rules have changed. The rules have changed in large part because you were too good at it.
Right.
And so that makes it even harder. And Lakers fans will say, well, it's been 3 years. It's been 10. We've been bad. You got to remember, you have to go all the way down. The first part of that was still the going down part.
Yeah.
Now, hopefully they've reached the bottom of that. They've started to acquire some stuff, and they're working their way back up. 17 points for Kobe Bryant on 6 of 19 from the floor. He also did this.
Here is Kobe stealing it from Chris Paul. Kobe into the front court, alley-oop, Clarkson slam dunk. Kobe gets a steal and an assist. 11 in the game for Clarkson. 57-44. Clippers by 13.
That steal from Kobe Bryant was the McDonald's Defensive Player of the Game. McDonald's has something new that might surprise you. Breakfast bowls, one loaded with egg white, turkey sausage, kale, and spinach. Not what you were expecting, right? Or try a scrambled egg and chorizo bowl, each for just $4.39. McDonald's, I'm loving it. Byron Scott, we'll hear from him. We'll get his post-game comments when we come back. We'll also take more of your calls, 877-710-ESPN. State Farm post-game show. State Farm, we exist to assist. Brian Kamenetsky, Alan Sliwa, ESPN LA.
Everything from our purple and gold's battle. You are listening to the State Farm postgame show. State Farm, we exist to assist. This is the State Farm postgame show on your home for Lakers basketball. ESPN LA 710.
State Farm postgame show. State Farm, we exist to assist. Brian Kamenetsky, Alan Sliwa. Lakers lose Wednesday night, 91-81, the final score at Staples Center, 16-62. Now the record for the Lakers with 4 games to play, 62 losses, of course, is the high or low water mark, I guess, depending on how you want to look at it. For Lakers losses, it's a franchise record. Breaking the record they set last year. They say records are made to be broken. The hope is it wouldn't happen so fast.
Back to back.
Yep. Count the rings. I hope there's no three-peat. I think that's the one thing, the one
I'm with
three-peat
MT on this
that we never want to see.
We're going to turn the page, and only better things to come for Lakers.
I agree. It's the 11th straight loss to the LA Clippers. Again, another ugly number. But the big numbers that we're watching, 4 games left now for Kobe Bryant. Tonight he was 6 of 19 from the floor, did lead the team with 17 points. We are getting down to the end. The Lakers go on the road. They've got 3 road games left, and they come back on Wednesday for Kobe Bryant's final home game, final NBA game. Mm-hmm. And as you pointed out, Alan, it's going to be nuts. And I think we all want to see a genuine, farewell game for Kobe Bryant. But there may be one complicating factor for the idea of this being a true night where the only thing that matters is Kobe.
Utah's trying to get a W.
Yes.
They're trying to get in the playoffs. We were just talking about it. They are sitting literally a half game or 1 full game in front of the Houston Rockets for the 8th spot. There is still very meaningful games in the Western Conference. Lakers play the Rockets on Sunday, and they play Utah on Wednesday. Both of those teams are trying to get in the playoffs. They're sitting on that fringe. Dallas is there as well, but it could be a very meaningful game for the Jazz on the 13th.
Right, and when you take a look at the standings, not only are they just trying to get in, even if they were in, I presume, I don't want to speak for Quinn Snyder. I'm guessing they'd like to get out from the possibility of having to face the Warriors in the first round. Depending on how they play, though, they have an opportunity to at least maybe get up to the 6, which gets you Oklahoma City, which isn't great, but still better than the other ones.
And this to reference the Clippers, I can guarantee you it looks like Portland will do everything they can to try and get in front of Memphis.
Mm-hmm.
Because they probably want to face the Clippers instead of facing the Oklahoma City Thunder. They've played, actually, the Clippers pretty well this season. Not to say that they would beat the Clippers, but they would put up a fight against the Clippers, may make it a 6-game series or something like that. But there's still a lot of jockeying going on in the West, and Utah and Houston.
You know those players in the Jazz. Again, these guys grow up with Kobe Bryant as their Michael Jordan,
right.
Derek Favors, Gordon Hayward. All these guys have an enormous amount of respect for Kobe. And you can almost imagine this scenario where every time he goes, and they're just like, Kobe comes across half court.
Double.
They got to lock him down or whatever. And they're just like, I'm really sorry. I'm so sorry we have to do this. And they force Kobe into some, 2 of 19
actually,
shooting.
And if there's one player on the floor who would understand, it'd be Kobe. Kobe's like, get in that playoffs. I mean, can you blame him? The competitive spirit.
Kobe wouldn't be mad at him. It's the rest of us that are going to be mad at him.
But the competitive spirit of that's how Kobe built his entire career, is just that competition.
Yep.
And here they are in a chance or in a position to make the playoffs, which Utah has not been smelling that playoff picture year in and year out.
877-710 ESPN is the number if you'd like to call in. Nexon has the coach's interview after every game tonight. Byron Scott speaking to the media following Wednesday's 91-81 loss to the Clippers.
Despite the loss, Byron, do you feel like you guys got a little bit of their dignity back tonight after last night's game?
No, I just thought we showed a little bit more fight tonight. You know, I thought especially in the second half we showed a little bit more fight. So that's what I was kind of looking for. You know, I'm glad that they did come ready to play a little bit more and be a lot more competitive tonight than they were last night.
You've talked before recently about issues, particularly the young guys, when it comes to focus and execution. How hard do you think it can be for these guys right now with everything so focused on Kobe, whether you're talking about for fans or media, that they don't just sort of feel like they're along for the ride?
Well, I think it could be tough. You know, so it's a lot of stuff going on, you know, and they're young, you know, and it's a lot of stuff that I've been throwing at them all season long, and for them to, try to digest all that along with, everything else that's going on, especially now, that we're winding down, it's even more of a focus, in KB's last game. So I think all that attention and all that focus has probably affected them a little bit, because they see it just like everybody else, and they want him to do well, and they try to get him the ball as much as possible when he's out on the floor. So it's a lot to digest. I don't take that lightly. One of the timeouts tonight, I said, okay, we drew up a play, you guys messed that one up, and then we ran another play, you messed that up. So I know the focus sometimes is not there because of so much stuff going on.
I would think that they're worried if they shoot, the crowd's going to go.
Well, some of them I've told if they don't shoot, they're going to get pulled out the game, when they're open. So as much as I think they're trying to focus on, KB, getting his shots and playing well and, getting his accolades, they still have to understand that it is a game to be played. And when you have shots, you got to take them.
Kobe's down to one home game. What does that mean?
That means we got 4 games left. 3 on the road and 1 at home. No, I mean it's obviously it's the grand finale, so to speak. It's the last home game. It's the last game of the season, and I think everybody's very aware of that. Not only Kobe and the players, but us as the coaches, as well. And it's going to be one of those nights where it's going to be very emotional, very, I think, we're going to try to focus on the game, and try to win a game. But I think, obviously all the attention is going to be mounted even more so, heightened even more so for that game.
Divine, when you just read everything, why do you think this team is able to be better than last year's team in terms of the record?
Much younger, much more inexperienced than we had last year.
I mean, how do you weigh that versus just last year? There's a lot of injuries. Sure, relatively healthy.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, we were pretty relatively healthy this year. So you take away some of the veterans that we had last year and you plug in these young guys that haven't played on this level. It's a different story, and they're learning, and it's hard. And they, when we have the veteran guys, they know how to compete every single night. They've been in the league for a while. These young guys,
That is Byron Scott speaking to the media following tonight's loss. Nexen Tire provides high-quality tires with the best warranty in the business. Learn more about one of America's fastest-growing tire brands at NexenTireUSA.com. Obviously, a lot of that talk, as you see there, connected to Kobe Bryant, even when it's not literally about Kobe. It's sort of about playing with Kobe and what that does impacting the guys going forward. 17 points for Kobe Bryant, does lead the team, 6 of 19 shooting in his second-to-last game at Staples Center. Only 4 games left in the career of Kobe Bryant. Chris and Torrance, you're on the State Farm Postgame Show.
Hey, guys, how's it going? First of all, I've been a long-time Laker fan. I've been watching them since I was making, macaroni and construction paper projects when I was a kid. And so knowing what he means to me, I know he's and I'm going to lose it when his last game comes around. But I was just wondering if, knowing him as well as you guys do, how well do you think he's going to keep it together, despite how calm and at peace he's claimed to be up to this point?
It's a great question, and thanks for calling in, Alan. What do you think? There'll be some emotion for sure. Is he going to well up with tears while he's on the floor? I don't see that, but it wouldn't shock me, actually, now that I think about it.
The only thing I could think of is maybe when his family comes out, his kids come out, his wife is there, that surreal moment that, hey, this is it. I don't think would happen during the game or anything from that standpoint, but I could see when we start getting the family together, depending on some of the greats that the Lakers will have, what kind of presentation they do for him. I know that's going to come. I'm assuming that would come before the game.
I think there'll be stuff before. I wouldn't hop out of your seat
TV timeout,
to beat traffic after the game on Wednesday.
They might even bring them out. TV timeout, 6 minutes into the first quarter. They're bringing the whole crew out. No, but
I don't think the pageantry will end at the final buzzer. I think there'll be more.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I wouldn't be surprised if certainly his emotions do come out. But, Brian, you spent a ton of time interviewing Kobe for a number of years now and having really chances to speak with him on a one-on-one basis. How do you think that will play out?
He is, without question, at peace with this choice. I think it's very clear his body can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
He can't perform at the level that he expects, and this is rightly the last year. It cannot go on any farther. And because he's been injured so much over the last couple of seasons, he's had time to put together that infrastructure with Kobe Inc. He's spent a lot of time at the office over the last couple of seasons, putting that company together, working around, building that up. And so he's been able to think about what this is going to look like for him after it's over. And he's at peace at it. There's no regrets.
No surprises.
He's not coming back. But at the same time, there's going to have to be some sort of finality, some weird moment. Maybe it happens on the floor when his family comes out, like you say, Alan. Maybe it happens after he's done, when he gets into his car and realizes, I'm done. It's not, it's not coming. I think that happens a lot with guys in the finals. Like, there's so much that happens after it's done, and there's so much media and there's so much stuff and there's so many things you have to do. It's not until you have that quiet moment. So there'll be a lot of emotion. It wouldn't surprise me if at some point he talks to fans, talks to media, sees his kids, that there's a little bit more of a crack than we're used to, at least.
And that's the best way to put it. I think the way you said it, that he seems at peace. That's probably the best way to describe it.
Right. The rest of us are going to freak out, but Kobe, I think, will be fine. 877-710-ESPN. Kobe just finished talking to the media, so we'll hear a little bit about that. Andy Kamenetsky on his way back from Staples Center. He was there and undoubtedly asked Kobe some questions. So we'll hear all about that when we come back. Brian Kamenetsky, Alan Slee with State Farm Postgame Show. State Farm, we exist to assist on ESPN LA.
Everything from our purple and gold battle. You are listening to the State Farm Postgame Show. State Farm, we exist to assist. This is the State Farm Postgame Show on your home for Lakers basketball. ESPN LA 710.
If you are looking for the fancy word to use tonight, it is the penultimate game for Kobe Bryant at Staples Center. One left. Tonight was a 91-81 loss to the Clippers. Lakers dropped to 16-62 on the season. That is a franchise record for most losses in a year, breaking the record they set last year. So it's certainly been a lean couple of seasons. But that said, the Lakers still they got some good moments, because really what people want to see is stuff like this.
Kobe has 3 rebounds in the game. Now dribbles on Mbah Moute, around Mbah Moute, all the way to the rim, fall away in the lane, good. He ended up on his wallet, laying down in front of the courtside season ticket holders.
17 points for Kobe Bryant tonight. It is enough to make him the Fantasy Springs Resort Casino Lakers Player of the Game. Fantasy Springs Resort Casino, located in the beautiful Palm Springs area, offers all you need for a fun-filled getaway or complete destination vacation. Whether your fantasy includes luxurious hotel rooms, exciting Vegas-style gambling options, fabulous dining, world-class entertainment, golf, or poolside lounging, you'll find it at Fantasy Springs Resort Casino. Brian Kamenetsky, Alan Sliwa, State Farm Postgame Show. State Farm, we exist to assist. Only 4 more games left in the career of Kobe Bryant. There's a lot to look at. I think, the Lakers are a fascinating team right now, because what happens from a basketball standpoint, what happens from a business standpoint, from a fan standpoint when Kobe's gone, it's been 20 years since we had to ask the question of what does a Lakers team, what does the franchise look like without no Kobe? Whether you're talking about Byron Scott, whether you're talking about the young guys who comes in, free agency, whatever it might be. We're kind of getting into uncharted waters here. Obviously the Lakers existed before Kobe, they'll exist after him, but it seems like it's hard to remember before he got here.
Well, I think we'll quickly find out, maybe not quickly, but just how powerful the brand is, in the sense that the Lakers have really been a part of a lot of stories outside of just Kobe this season, and not from a positive perspective.
Yeah, you're right.
But in the same case, it's still the Los Angeles Lakers. So if the New York Yankees tomorrow, when Derek Jeter left, if they go through an off season, or they're starting to kind of try and rebuild their tools, it's just that brand is so powerful. But we haven't seen this in 20 years. So we're not sure what Kobe Bryant is or what the Lakers are without Kobe Bryant. Of course, the brand is still going to be there. I'm sure Staples Center will continue to obviously have sellouts and everything else, but it is uncharted water. And the Lakers are in a position. Last year they broke a franchise record, most losses in a season. This year they'll break it again. They haven't been this far down in their history. Date back to Minneapolis, they've never been this far down. There's certainly
62 losses is a high water mark.
The only way, the only direction that you hope that the Lakers can go is up.
Yeah,
but we've said that a couple times now. So
we have, but it's one of those things that, like, the Lakers have had times when they haven't had a bona fide megastar.
Mm-hmm.
Magic retires, and
it's my era right there.
There's a stretch. There's a stretch in there where it's Ced Ceballos and Nick Van Exel and Eddie Jones, and then those teams aren't bad. They're still making the playoffs generally, and then you come back and all of a sudden now it's Shaq and Kobe, and since then it's been 20 years of Kobe Bryant. But just because the Lakers maybe have had a few odd seasons here and there where there haven't been superstars, it's been so long.
Right.
This whole argument about the Lakers must have a star. Well, the LA needs a star. You have to have. And Andy Kamenetsky joining us now after walking across the street from Staples Center. We're going to find out
about your stars.
You or Kobe?
Me.
That's right.
Andy sprinted across the street. I saw him. The passion he has.
It's very impressive, Alan, because there's actually no window to the street from the studio.
That's true.
It's pretty amazing.
We have cameras.
Come on, Andy.
We have a nanny cam.
Call me out on here.
Whatever happened to yes and?
No, I furthered it. I furthered it along.
You came winded.
Joke.
Alan watched you through his third eye. Anyway, this is it. We think of this as a situation where the Lakers have never been without a star, but it seems at least like going into next year, unless they manage to pick up Kevin Durant or something like that this offseason, for the first time in 20 years, the Lakers are going to start a season without that bona fide, A-lister, all-star type guy.
Well, I mean, the best hope is that star is there. You just don't know it yet. You just don't actually know yet that star is D'Angelo Russell, or it's Julius Randle, or it's Jordan Clarkson, that you've got that type of multiple all-star player here. He's just not here yet, and you don't know it yet.
Right.
But he's coming, because remember...
Or it's Ben Simmons, or potentially
or whoever.
one of these picks.
But I mean,
right?
Remember, Kobe was not all-star Kobe his first season either. And
technically, he was his second season, but he wasn't really all-star.
Well, you know what?
But he wasn't Kobe Bryant. I mean, making a joke about him getting voted into the game.
I was going to say, well, give these guys their second season.
And
see what happens.
And Alan, what's amazing about it too, and what I think one of the things I do appreciate about Kobe, there have been arguments about is it help to have him around, does it hurt to have him around, but one thing I think he's done very well is downplay as much as possible this notion that these guys have to be ready next year when he's gone. The torch has to be passed this year, that we should expect one of these guys to develop by next season to be the man going forward. I think Kobe's done a great job of sort of actively taking the pressure off of these guys in terms of what they mean for their development going forward, because we all know how important it is, but Kobe hasn't done anything to make us feel like that needs to be accelerated.
Yeah, and I think there'll be more clarity after next season where we'll have more of an opportunity to say, all right, this is what D'Angelo Russell is when he has the ball more in his hands, or if Julius Randle gets more touches down low. We didn't get that. We talked earlier about 19 shots from Kobe Bryant tonight. Not at this point that any of us care that he took 19 shots, but take those 19 shots and disperse them amongst some of these younger players.
What happens?
We'll have a better idea of who these guys are, but it's going to take a season or so.
As somebody who has Jordan Clarkson in a keeper fantasy basketball league, I am very curious about the answer to that question. Cody at Staples Center has as an interesting farewell question that we haven't addressed. Cody, go ahead.
So, better cabinet. I hope there's one out there. I was at the Sunday game against Boston, and they celebrated Gary Vitti during halftime and gave him his standing ovation and his sending off, which he deserved. And I went to this game knowing that obviously Kobe's big send-off will be next Wednesday against Utah, but why wasn't the world champion 2010 game-winning shot three-point shooter Metta World Peace having a send-off tonight?
And
he is retiring.
Cody, I will answer that question. I asked Metta that before, he told me he wants to keep playing.
I was going to say,
so Metta's not walking away.
Absolutely. The reason that there has not been across the league a farewell tour for Metta, and that every single city that he's gone up against, they've either given him a tribute or they've named a snake after him in a zoo or whatever. Mm-hmm. The only reason it hasn't happened is because Metta hasn't announced his retirement.
Right, Metta wants to keep playing. There will be a farewell ceremony for Roy Hibbert at the end of the year.
Thrown by fans.
And the Lakers alike. He will not be returning. But Metta World Peace, as far as I know, wants to keep playing. We will keep playing as well. 877-710 ESPN is the number. 91-81. The Lakers lose. They are 16-62 on the season, but we have Kobe Bryant to distract us from that at least a little bit. Brian Kamenetsky, Andy Kamenetsky, Alan Sliwa, State Farm Postgame Show, ESPN LA.
Capping everything from our purple and gold's battle. You are listening to the State Farm Postgame Show. State Farm, we exist to assist. This is the State Farm Postgame Show on your home for Lakers basketball. ESPN LA 710.
State Farm Postgame Show. Kamenetsky Brothers now with Alan Sliwa. If you didn't get a chance to hear it today, go back, find the podcast's archives of the Mason and Ireland show, or just become Steve Mason's Facebook friend, and then you'll be able to see it 9,000 or 10,000 times. Kobe Bryant on with John and Steve earlier today. It was a really fun interview. Go back and check it out. Kobe spoke to the media after the game. Here's a little taste of that.
Dylan is the second to last one. What were the emotions like tonight as opposed to maybe any other games?
No, I mean, it felt, it's weird to say it felt the same, but, I've been trying to take it all in for a while now. So, but, you can feel kind of the energy in the crowd, you know what I mean? It's, it's one game left here. It's kind of crazy. It's pretty crazy.
you thought ahead what the final game is like for you?
A little bit, not much though. I try not to do it too much. You just make yourself emotional. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Talk about all these games, the way same way you always approach games. Talking about him earlier in the year, he said in that final game he would love if you had one of those, giant seats where they sit you down and. Why are you so opposed to doing that?
I just don't like it. It's just not me. This is the stretch enough for me. The cheer and all that. I just can't do it.
That's just a little taste of Kobe Bryant after the game. Obviously, tune in tomorrow on all of our shows starting at 5 a.m. with Kelvin and Travis and Thompson and Trudell at 10 a.m., John and Steve, and then Max and Marcellus at Drive Time 3 to 7. A lot of Kobe sound from tonight, from what he said on Mason, Ireland today. You'll definitely be getting your fill of Kobe Bryant over the next week as Andy, I think appropriately honor him in his final season. It really is amazing to think 20 years, and you've been here for all of it, 20 years ends in a week.
I mean, really, it's, as somebody who's lived in L.A. for all of Kobe's career, like, I really do remember my reaction to seeing that Jerry West had traded Vlade for the draft rights for a high school kid. Remember, too, like, it's not just a high school kid, it was a guard. I mean, guards never made that leap. I mean, it was pretty much unprecedented to make that leap. My first thought was just like, wait, you did what? Like, even hearing the rumors about Shaq, you're still thinking, like, okay, if you're going to move Vlade, you want to try to get the best.
The old man has lost it.
Well, I mean, really, this was incredibly outside the box and unorthodox thinking at the time. I mean, it really was difficult to wrap your head around.
I mean, Alan, you said you were 13 when you first started watching Kobe.
Yeah, that's amazing. 96 is when he started, so yeah, I was 13 years old. It's funny, too, because the way he started his career, if you remember that playoff series against Utah Jazz, the one thing that we can all look at and agree with, he failed, but had no problem doing it. And that was really the theme of his entire career.
Yeah.
He was going to put everything out on the line, and that's what he was going to do, win or lose. Not many players would put themselves in that position.
It's amazing. The passage of time, the consistency of him in that regard over the course of his career is incredible. But the passage of time, just 20 years. You think about the movies of 1996, Independence Day, Twister.
I was just going to say Twister.
The first Mission Impossible, Jerry Maguire, Ransom, TV shows. Top-rated TV show then was ER, followed by Seinfeld, Suddenly Susan, Friends, and The Naked Truth. And fired up. NBC really owned TV in 1996.
Oh, yeah.
Single Guy, also NBC.
That was when they owned Thursday Night,
right.
in particular,
Home
too. Must-see TV.
Touched by an Angel was still on television at that point. The Billboard #1 songs, Mariah Carey, One Sweet Day with Boys to Men, Because You Love Me, Celine Dion. I mean, this is not yesterday that this stuff happened.
As George just pointed out, cable was a lot cheaper, and you could actually watch the games for free.
That's true.
Things have changed, Brian.
Like, if you had internet in 1996, if you had email, you were considered like bougie if you had an email. You were living a highfalutin.
You can't get regular.
Either that, or you were
sort of tech god.
I was going to say either that, or you were considered like a hacker.
People
thought you were up to no good if you had email.
I mean, that's what it took to get your email back then. And this is
that was some great Michael Winslow style effects right there.
It's as if we all just signed on to AOL together.
That was very convincing.
Right. Yeah, I mean it was like stepping into a time machine. It really was.
It's like,
would you like
Mario, who is it?
Somebody
the human beatbox guy does all the sound effects. Who is that?
Drowning duck.
Razel.
It's basically like being in the studio with Razel.
Exactly. Somebody asked me, "Hey, what did it sound like getting on dial-up in 1996?" Go ahead.
What did it sound like to hear dial-up in 1996? Unbelievable. Yeah. Unbelievable.
You've got mail. That's all it took.
Wow.
That's the world that Kobe Bryant entered. dinosaurs, saber-tooth tigers, and dial-up.
It's unbelievable.
Richard Krejcik was the U.S. Open champion. I'm not even sure he's still alive.
It's probably at the game. It's probably there. It is. I mean, but it really it is nuts to think about how long ago all this stuff was. And by the way, to put it all really in perspective, Kevin Garnett entered the league a year earlier. Kevin Garnett actually entered the league a year earlier.
And put it even more in perspective, neither one of them is 40 years old. Just gives you an idea of how young these guys were when they came into the league and how rare it is for them to still be here doing it. That is all the dial-up time we have today. A much more high-tech version of the State Farm Postgame Show will be coming to you on Friday, 5 o'clock tip, 3:30.
This is our last one together.
Yeah, it is. 3:30 is will be the start time. It'll be Alan Sliwa and Jeff Biggs. And then 2 more road games. It won't be up, but this is kind of it. Will be a big group hug afterwards. This is probably as emotional as it will be for people in their cars right now as it will be on Wednesday when Kobe hangs it up for good.
It's tough for them. It's tough for a lot of these people.
Stick around. So on Wednesday, obviously for the broadcast, 3:30, 5 o'clock tip in New Orleans. State Farm Postgame Show following with Alan Sliwa and Jeff Biggs right here on ESPN LA.
Thanks for listening to the State Farm Postgame Show on ESPN LA.
ESPN LA 710. Hi, this is Byron Scott.
Hey, what's going on? This is Kobe Bryant.
Hey, this is Nick Swaggy P. Young.
After every Lakers game, your first chance to react is only here on the home of Lakers basketball. LA's sports leader, ESPN LA 710.